What is up, YouTube? Busted out the whiteboard today. I feel like one of the last videos I was talking about lack of passion and drive, and in feeling that I realized I need to make a change, and it was kind of coinciding with the transformation challenge I was launching. I'm not going to make this about you have to sign up for my transformation challenge because it's already too late for that. You fucked, you're lost, you're never going to get any progress because you didn't sign up for it. Unless you did, then lucky you. But the idea of signing up for something or committing to something, creating a plan, a structure, a deadline, community, all these different things are something that help hold you accountable to actually hit your goals so much more than people understand. I think it's scary to commit to something because then you're leading yourself to failure and self-disappointment. And if you have like limiting self-beliefs of not being able to do something, you're like feeling you're gonna reinforce them. But the actual idea of committing to something, putting it out there makes you more likely to succeed. And I was just thinking about that concept of how much it affected me after not having the Olympia as my thing I was committed to, and then having this transformation challenge where we have these weekly calls that we're getting into. I have a YouTube channel I'm uploading all the time. I'm gonna be doing a physique update at the end of this, which is fucking scary for me because I haven't looked at myself pose in a while. But all these little things that are like, okay, well, if I'm doing it, I'm saying I'm doing it, I'm talking to people every week on the Standard Plus calls, and I'm gonna have 8 weeks from now another physique update, I'm holding myself accountable, and that drives me to be better. And in doing so, I build the momentum and the excitement and the passion, the love to continue to do so. So anyways, the points that I wrote down: commitment equals buy-in. Exactly what I was just saying. Being able to say something publicly, to actually commit to something, to write it down, to agree to something, to decide on an end date, to do that, it creates buy-in in your mind that you're actually doing something, and then you can commit to actually putting in the work. In an old video I did when I was talking about like changing your life, it was the idea that you create your identity, and being leads to doing leads to having. So when you create an identity around someone, first of all, who commits to something, that person who commits then commits to the actions that it takes to achieve the goal they've committed to. And then you start doing the actions, and then you get the thing that you want. So kind of first identity shift being commitment, doing the thing, starting it, and then from there you're like, okay, fuck, I need a plan and a system to start doing that. You start to get specific, move forward, and then you're actually gonna hit some goals. Second thing, structure removes guesswork. So once you commit to something, creating structure in something is so important. When I was competing in the Olympias, it was like, okay, I'm eating 5 meals a day to start. By the time I'm 8 weeks out, I need to be at 6 meals a day. So if I can nail this now, then it's good. So I started building structure. Every day I'm eating at the same time, the same thing, moving forward. Every week I have a check-in. Every couple days I'm calling Hani. I'm training at the same time in the gym all the time. I created this structure around my life, which allowed me not to have to think about things, and I just knew it would work. So if you go day to day without having proper structure or system, you're just gonna end up falling off and not know where you're ending up. So having the proper specific plans of what you need to do is so important to help yourself moving forward. Next thing is community equals accountability. I see this so big right now in our office right now. I'm the last bodybuilder up there. Everyone's evolved into a runner, and because they're all running and doing the same thing, and they have a community where they're like talking about their miles, talking about the new shoes they got, the new treadmill, X, Y, and Z, all these different things. They're all like pushing each other to get better because they know when they come in on Monday, they're gonna be like, how many miles do you run this weekend? They don't wanna be that bitch that didn't run any miles. So having a community is so big. When I was training for Prague and I was training with Brett and Martin in the gym and I was exhausted and these fucking tanks are in there pushing every day, I'm like, I gotta show these guys that classic physique guy can push harder than a bodybuilder, and that held me accountable. Can't always do that, which kind of sucks, but having friends, people online communities is something really big. That's why when we built the Standard Challenge, every Wednesday there's a weekly call. Justin's on all of them giving sick advice. I'm on most of them. And we also have an actual community, like a forum on the Circle app that's private. All these people who are on the same challenge, doing the same thing, are in this so they can talk to each other and hold each other accountable. And that's so important because I feel like communities, I could dive way deeper into that, but we just fucking suck at community. I was listening to a book on anxiety, and it was talking about how many friends do you have that would call you to help them move out of their house? If they had to move from house to house, would they call you to move? Or would they call a stranger and pay them when they probably couldn't afford it to do it? And I was like, fuck. Probably none of my friends would, because my community has shrunk. Like, that sucks. You know, I want to expand that. I want to be there for people, and I want us to have like-minded goals helping us progress and get better. So lost the community. That was kind of random, but that thought was like, it all ties in. Tracking reinforces discipline. I think Justin always says what isn't measured isn't managed, and this is so important. I think if I could give one piece of advice for people who are trying to diet, it's just track your food. Don't even think about what you're doing other than tracking your food. And just having that conscious awareness of what you're putting in your body consistently allows you to progress so much better. And beyond that, tracking stuff like physique updates. I'm gonna look at my physique right now and be like, ooh, like I still look good. Again, I'm still jacked, but like compared to what I was or where I wanna be, I'm not there. having consistent weekly check-ins where I'm doing that, consistently tracking my food, consistently tracking things. It's the biggest thing to reinforce discipline rather than just saying, I know how to eat healthy, I'll just do it. Like, no, you're not. Fuck off. You know, even I can't do that shit. I tell myself I'm gonna do it and then I don't, unless my meal plan's written down, I'm tracking my macros, I know what's going in my body, keeping up with my physique, my weight. Logging your weights has been one of the biggest changes I made in the last couple of years for driving progress. Because on those days where you come in and you feel like shit, like, well, last week I did 110 for 6. I better do it again at least this week if I feel worse. Pushes you to be better, reinforces discipline. Second last point, short-term focus equals long-term habit. So being able to create something with a short-term goal is so important. Like if I meet someone and they're 17 years old, 120 pounds, and they're like, my goal is to win the Olympia. I'm like, what else? I'm like, no, I'm gonna be Mr. Olympia. It's like, that's too far away. It's too far of a goal. You need a short-term goal. Like that's why we made this a 6-week challenge, or Gymshark had their 66-day challenge. I think it's not 66 weeks, that'd be long. But that idea of, yes, our transformation challenge is 6 weeks, but the goal is that the habits you build within those 6 weeks will carry on forever. The progress you'll see and the momentum will keep you driving forward. I've spoken about that a lot in my Olympia preps. A momentum is absolutely everything. If I can ride a wave of momentum to the point where I'm 4 weeks out and everything starts to suck, I'm just falling forward at the end. If I have a shitty day, well, I've been moving so fast, so forward, so consistent that nothing's gonna stop me in one shitty day to keep falling forward. So sometimes you gotta grind it the fuck out for a short-term period, 6 weeks, whatever it may be. And then once you realize how much better you feel, you're like, wait, I can do another week. I can do another week. I can do another week. Next thing you know, it's who you are. It's part of your life, the lifestyle, not just a short-term goal. Number 6, most important rule of all. That's it. Time to work out. All right, last week or last 2 weeks? Last week was aiming for 6 reps. So a little more weight, getting good volume, but because I'm at like the beginning of a training phase where I was off and now I'm back, I'm progressing really fast. So the goal was to do 6 reps last week and then jump up to 8 to 10 reps with the same weight so that I'm getting more load. But that's the goal. I even bought these plate mates, which are supposed to be like, do smaller increments and put them on, but they don't work on the dumbbells. So I guess I'm gonna be skinny for life. Six reps is a lot more fun than 10. But in all seriousness, I always talk about really specific things like tempo, 2.5 pound weight increases, specific progressive overload, periodization, training, all this shit, because it works and I love it. But at the end of the day, for 90% of you, you just have to get in and fucking lift hard. If my 2.5 pound don't fit on the dumbbells, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm gonna push myself heavier with more weight, get a little bit less reps, but if I'm pushing myself progressively harder and harder, I'm still making gains. Like, no doubt, you can still win Olympias like that. I'm just passionate about learning about more nuances of how to continue to drive progress. Same thing about picking the best program. The best program is the one that you're gonna adhere to the best. If I'm going through a phase where I'm like, I've been training for 10 years, I wanna try very specific things that are proven to drive progress more, and that keeps me interested in training harder, then it's working for me better than just focusing on just intensity. And eventually intensity is more likely to hit you with a plateau if you're doing the same shit over and over and just trying to do it harder and harder. So number one way to make gains is to train hard, don't be a skinny bitch. But these little nuances in between can be fun and drive more progress. So don't overstress it, do what you can. Just don't let it ruin the fun of the workout, because getting jacked can be fun some days, unless it's leg day. Strip away like all the crazy like systems and science-backed exercises and programs and shit, and if you're not sleeping, like none of those matter. Sleep is such a more important thing. Nutrition, consistency, effort is all such a bigger pillar than these little things. They're all fractions, but when you stack fractions, they're important. So when you have the pillars and you're stacking fractions on top of it, that's when you become elite. And we're trying to be elite out here. not skinny bitches. Moving up to the big boy saddle weights, moving my way back up to the 150s. That's the same weight as last week, but 4 more reps. Call that progress. Oh man, 4 sets of 10 is a lot of reps. It's like 80 reps between those two exercises. This is like a big day to really fucking force build my like stabilizer press motion. Like stabilizing with a neutral grip all the way down, I can like feel like the part where my shoulder's still weak. It's healed, but it's weak. But doing 4 sets of incline and then 3 sets of flat dumbbell like this, it's a lot of stability shit. So I'm just like rebuilding that positioning and strength. And if I pull back on the kind of pressing volume and just focus on progressing in load, then I have that stability to not get injured. Fucking jacked, hopefully. Maybe it's also the fact I dumped a liter of blood this morning.
Don't they tell you not to work out?
Yeah.
Get blood?
Yeah. She was like, this is the most vials I've ever taken anybody. How much you weigh? She looked me up and down. I'm like 300 pounds. I'm like 250. She's like, you're good, sweetie. You're good. I was like, all right, sick. Thanks. So I take that as I'm superhuman, so I can do whatever I want and I can still work out after, even though I've only had a smoothie.
Perfect.
Chilling.
Do you feel the strength coming back?
Week by week, it's very small, but I definitely do. Even like what I noticed is like I would slowly feel like an increase of like just stability, which feels like strength. But now like from my first set to my last set, I still feel better going through it, which means I'm not like fully neurologically trained yet. Like my mind muscle connection isn't quite back yet, because normally, optimally, your first set, you can expend the most amount of energy, push the most amount of load and reps, and then you get worse. But I'm kind of like getting better. Like even that last set, I came down for that first rep and I was just in the perfect motion where I loaded my pecs right and it just like bounced off and it felt way more fluid versus like the first rep my elbow was a little too bent, so I'm fighting a little bit here, and I felt like a little like not in the right place. So just being in the right system and being trained like for form makes you feel a lot stronger. Which is why I always say when you're starting training, focus on form first and foremost, because if you have perfect form when you start and then you get strong from there, so much better than doing it the other way. Trust me, I've been through fucking multiple shoulder surgeries to talk about it. In the midst of that set, I was like, oh, it feels kind of weird, but it also feels kind of good. Then I remembered I really haven't done like a fly like this since my shoulder injury. So the fact that I just jumped on there, and it definitely feels like iffy, like stretching here and being a bit high. Stretches like, I don't know if it's in my labrum up in my bicep here or something, but one of the things is still tight, but it doesn't hurt like pain. Anyways, feels good to be able to do a kind of fly again. And I'm at the point where like that slight pain isn't enough to like hurt me, and I'm gonna have to work through it eventually. So I'm not gonna go super crazy, but adding this new fly motion into my arsenal of movements that I can do now post-injury to really strengthen that muscle at every length that it needs to. So do 3 sets of this, a little bit of trap 3 postural raises, and get the fuck out of here. All right, so we were just talking about how Hana used to give me shit because I hated sending my progress pics, especially at the beginning of my prep. My physique changes so much from like off-season fluffy to shredded, so I just didn't like taking pictures like that. And this is something where even now I'm like, oh, I haven't posed since Prague. I haven't done like a progress picture since I was in Prague, and I was on a fair amount of good supplements back then that do the trick, you know what I'm saying? Training a lot harder, I had no injuries, way different position than I am now, considering I'm retired, half natty C-bum, just fucking coming back from injury, all these things. Putting myself out there right now. If you guys roast me, you're gonna create huge self-image issues, and I'm gonna be fucking shredded and back on the Olympia stage in 6 months, so do what you will with that. No, but seriously, I feel like it's the big thing of like, people talk about like the Olympic athletes who get hella depressed after if they don't come back and find a goal. And that's why like I'm still pushing myself in training. I'm driven when it comes to being the best father I can to my family. That's like a huge like goal of mine that I'm actively working on rather than just being in. I have business, I still training, all the things going on to keep me progressing, because I came from such like an elite world of bodybuilding, and then it was just gone. And it was so revolved around how I look, and then that's gone too, that just fades. So as much as I never wanted to attach my self-worth or anything to like how I looked in my appearance, it was kind of inevitable that I did, because I was in a sport that required that to some extent. And I still was conscious of it as I was within it, so that when I was pulling away from it, I was aware of why I was feeling like things, and I knew what I had to work through. But still, I'm human, and that shit kind of happens. So progress update right now, first time since like Prague really. And I've been like training my ass off to be back in shape for this too. So I should have done this like right when I was injured, because I put on almost 10 pounds of muscle, and then I got a little bit leaner recently. So I've been like back on diet for 4 weeks, training hard again for like a couple months, and this is where we're at. I don't even remember how to pose. Of course, I chose to do this after chest day too. Damn, it hurts me. Adductors or whatever that is. I don't even know what a back job is. I can't shave my back right now, so. This classic pose for old Tim's thing. there you have it. I'm honestly lightheaded right now. Damn, I haven't posed like that in a minute. But this is a pretty sick starting point for me coming off an injury. Like I said, I should have done this, taking progress pics when I was like 10 pounds lighter post-injury, because I didn't look like just flat. Even if I hadn't lost all my muscle, I was way flatter. So this is the starting point of me now ramping things up really seriously. My goals, I tell everyone you have a goal to get very specific with it, and I'm struggling to get specific myself because I really want to get shredded, but I also haven't been training to build my strength back enough that I don't want to sacrifice my strength. So I'm not leaning into a bulk phase. I'm like trying to get leaner without the sacrifice of strength is my goal. So I'm going to keep feeding myself to which that I can perform in the gym to the level that I want, where I'm progressing in load every single week and getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I can recover from the right amount of intensity and volume that I want to. But I'm not just like jamming carbs down my face, where to the point where I'm just like trying to bulk and get as strong as possible, as fast as possible, because I don't want to put on any more body fat than I am right now. So the goal probably would be to be, I'm 250 right now. The goal would probably be to be like 3 to 4% leaner than this at the exact same weight and stronger by the Olympia. That's probably what my like specific goal is for my physique to do right now. So that's what I'm going to be working towards. Be talking about what my diet's like, doing a bunch of full days of eating. I'll be showing you guys my training. I'm going to be doing a different style of cardio now, probably some steady state, some interval training, because I just fucking get bored doing steady state, and I want to like really get my heart in good shape so when I'm going to bed my HRV is better and I'm just better conditioned. So a lot of cool stuff is coming. Yeah, that's it, I guess. I feel like I could have rambled deeply about my fucking ego death that I've gone through, of my fucking Mr. Olympia bodybuilder, and being like, I'm not attached to how I look, and my identity's not attached to my competing or winning or being a fucking 250-pound shredded freak. And then when that started to fade, I was like, ooh, like this doesn't feel good. I feel kind of like stressed. What's leaving me right now, you know? And I had this like conscious awareness of like, that was an ego death. I'm experiencing like a prolonged ego death of like letting go of the life that I used to live, of the man that I used to be, and kind of like expanding that, where I'm not like attaching my identity to a thing and I'm just becoming who I am. You know, I'm taking what I learned from that season of my life to become the man that I want to be, but my character, of which I'm always in control of, but it's not attached to my performance or a trophy or a fucking 250-pound shredded gorilla, silverback gorilla. But yeah, so maybe I'll fucking ramble deeply into that another time. But for now, I gotta get some food in me. So this little physique update on a hot summer day. This is gonna be the thumbnail. Thanks for tuning in.
Good shit.